titan that's rising on, just you watch. I'm stepping into fame. There is no time to waste. I've got that lightning inside me. This is how legends are made.
Alright guys, first off, the first thing we're going to start about before I get to even what the video is about, I'm going to thank Horseplay Motoring for creating my intro and my outro. It was a big surprise for me. I'm really in love with it. Go give him a follow before you do anything else, and remember, like and subscribe for more videos like this. Now today, we're going to talk about Delta Force Tuning Commando. Sniper created Delta Force Tuning, and I did a video on where we used Special Forces. Special Forces is a base level tune. It's basically canned tunes. The pro level is Commando, which allows you to change your timing charts, change your air-fuel ratios, all of it. You have full control over the ECU. So today we're going to do a short video on how to tune with it and how to create a tune. So first off, I'm going to start off by saying we are going to create a tune. I know a couple of you in my last videos mentioned that I didn't fully create a tune, and but that was because I was doing a help video, not a actual let's do something. But I'll create a full tune this time. So I'm going to flip my camera and we're going to head up here. So we're going to go here, and you're going to open Delta Force EXE after you've installed the program, and it will open up. Don't worry, my laptop's slow. That's the way it is. Been trying to fix it, and it just runs slow, but this is what you'll get when you open Delta Force. Okay, now when you open Commando, you will have to add a template and your tune. So we're going to load a file. We're going to go original files. We're going to start from a stock tune. We are going to load a template. So we're going to go, and the templates need to match the tunes you're putting on, or else they won't work. So we're going to go here. So let's say you want to increase your timing. We're going to go to tables, as you can see where I am now. We're going to scroll down to borderline table. And this is a stock, my stock tune. I have seen other stock 4.6s that have a different timing table, but as you can see, this is the stock timing table of my ECU. So we're going to go here. We're going to go to this MBT table. And this basically shows your total degrees of timing that you can possibly run on 93. See? The map is used in torque calculation to determine how close the engine is to run into MBT spark for peak torque, and at the given fuel octane range. Change this will not have any effect on the time the engine is running. However, it is a good indicator of how much spark you can safely run. For the octane fuel level that the manufacturer tested this engine with, which would be 87 since it is a 97. So 93, we're good. So we're going to sorry for my camera work. I should have put my GoPro on, but I'd have to dig it out, and I don't feel like anyway, we're going to go back to our borderline table, and we're going to start at 2000. We're going to up at 6 degrees. We're going to up at 2 points. So 4 taps of the plus button. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll do that across the whole range. And as you can see, I just bumped it up 2 degrees timing. Now this chart here looks like what a basic Sniper Special Forces tune is going to look like. And it basically bumps your high-low timing up 2 degrees. And does your air-fuel ratios a little different. Now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go in with, let's say you want to change air-fuel ratio. So you're going to go, man, it's been a while since I've done that. Your air-fuel ratio, well, let's start with the MAF transfer function. The MAF transfer function tells the ECU what airflow is coming in to the engine and how much fuel it needs to mix. So as your volts increase, so will your airflow, and those need to match to tune properly. But there's another one, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I think I was in it. Okay, tables. There we go. Stabilized open loop fuel table. Now, as you can see, this is a stock fuel table. 14, and as load increases, it drops down. This is a pretty good fuel table because you always want the engine. Okay, 14.7 is the proper air-fuel ratio. Not the best, though. Every engine is different on the air-fuel ratio that it likes to run. The 4.6.2 valves love running 13 to 12.7. They like running a bit rich. And I normally when I tune, I'll set the whole table at 13 flat and have it run 13, and then I'll mess with my timing and my MAF transfer. Now, the MAF transfer has to be corrected to bring it within. Okay, you'd have to have a wideband for this, but you have to correct the MAF transfer in order to bring the air-fuel ratio in with what it's supposed to be. So if I tell the engine to run a 13 flat AFR and turn off the ability for it to use fuel trims, which we'll go to that next, that would be not adaptive fuel table, it would be in scalar. So you have these, and this is adaptive control, and what this does is allows the computer to adjust your air-fuel ratio. Now, what I've been having an issue with my ECU is I have a wideband in my driver's side. It does not like to read on the ECU. The ECU does not read it, even though it has a narrowband emulator. So what my ECU is doing is when I switch it on, it's running straight rich because it wants more fuel on it, and that's a problem. Now, if you have automatic transmissions, you'll go to scalar, and your scalar will have most of your lockups and stuff. It'll also have wide open throttle shifts. You just got to get down here. Your rev limits. I will be making a video on how to. I will be making a video on how to what your 4R70 transmission you should not do with your 4R70 transmission. That will include RPM limit. That is what I found wrong with mine, but we're not going to talk about that right now because that's a thing for another video. But anyway, so we're going to talk, since this is what I'm going to do, we're going to go fin and F1. Okay, this disables the rear O2. So I want all my O2s turned off because we're making a tune thing. So it's going to be 0, 0, 0, 0. And we're going to go. Okay. 0 disables the thing. Okay, so it's telling it has 2, so we're going to tell it has 0. And that will tell it has no front O2s and no rear O2s. That's because I'm running the wideband, and I'm going to tune specifically off the wideband. Now, this is the max speed allowed for 2.1 downshift and 3-2 downshift. Other things we can get here. You can disable your PATs. Your percent load switch is, it uses, for your stabilized fuel, uses percent of peak load, the actual load calculated from the ECC, or throttle position. You want number 1, the actual load. I don't have a power steering pressure switch. All these right here are for your IAC, the RPM adders. Now here's your rev limits. Now everything else is 7,000, but a few values, and those are the only few values that talk. You can set up a 2-step for automatic transmissions. It just requires a little bit of work. You can also mess with your trans pressure here. I don't recommend doing that if you don't know what you're doing. You could easily push too much pressure and start blowing seals. But as of right now, I've turned my O2s off, and we took the timing up 2 degrees on high load. So honestly, it's not really that hard to tune with Commando. Most of it's just easy stuff. They have a lot of help files, you know. It covers a lot of stuff. It doesn't cover as much if you have a manual transmission. There's a lot for automatic transmissions. As per shift points, shift patterns, you can make it shift any way you want. It's great. I do recommend getting it, but there is one downfall to it. For one, if you have a 96 to 98 Mustang, no one will tune with the software. You have to get SCT if you want a dyno tune. Or be like me and learn how to tune. The other thing is that, and we'll go ahead and save this tune real quick. So we're going to go File, and we're going to go Save File As. And we're going to go Test Tune. We're going to pull it out of the original files because it's not an original file. So we'll go to Tunes and we'll save it right there. Alright, so now that that's made, we'll talk a little bit about what we did. So, I recommend it for the person who wants to get in for tuning. It's very easy. It's a nice interface to get started with. I recommend you read up on some idea of tuning. The issue with people starting out tuning, I've done this already several times, not knowing what I'm messing with and ended up messing something up. I didn't know my trans was not meant to run the RPM I was running in that and blew it up. Did I blow the transmission up? No. However, I did damage the transmission to where I no longer have third and fourth. But the only issue I have with the program itself is it seems like the ECU doesn't always listen to it. Like, that's why I'm considering a Mega Squirt ECU, because I know the Mega Squirt's going to listen. The stock ECU kind of wants to do what it wants, even with different charts on it. Also, my card just doesn't seem right when I tune it. I had it at 28 degrees timing at one point, and that's where everybody says I should be at, and it doesn't pick up power. I gained power going back to the stock tune, and I didn't understand why. But I've got new things coming up. We're going to get into that. Remember, like and subscribe, and check out the new outros. And give Horseplay Motoring a follow and sub, and just remember, be savage.